I have evangelical Christian family who I genuinely think that they wish the best for me and they love me, but they think that I'm going to hell. It's like, so my idea for Pride was I wanted to do something for Pride that was like creative and funny, right? So I thought I'd use this character, Tammy Jo, to make fun of a lot of the ways that conservatives or more conservative people critique Pride or the silly things that they say about Pride. Like, you know, "Oh, I support gay rights. Lots of people would say, oh, I support gay rights, but why are you half naked? Why are you dressed in these ridiculous costumes? Whatever. And so I took that idea, that was just one idea, right? And then you go out and she's, saying, "I'll put some clothes on, Jesus loves you," whatever. And she's sort of using this very like conservative and also very Christian, moralistic attitude. The whole point of that is to point out that that way of being is silly, that way of thinking is ridiculous, right? I reject all of that Christian garbage. And so for me, it's very easy to make fun of it. I'm actually quite interested in making fun of it because that's my political point of view, right? That's kind of, for me, a big part of the fun of satire is like, I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not saying this is good. I'm saying it's bad, right? I don't like these ridiculous, conservative, Christian, evangelical ways of thinking. I think they're trash. So this is my way of saying that.
So, what was Tammy Jo thinking when she was there?
When I was explaining to my audience a little bit, I don't want to ever over explain what I'm doing in my comedy, but I was explaining a little bit because I think people don't really know, especially in Taiwan. Thankfully, there's not that many Christians. So it's not, people don't really know like how twisted and messed up a lot of these beliefs are, right? But they really do believe a lot of these insane things. And some people get really, really extreme in their beliefs and how much they're anti-gay. And they're anti-gay because they really do they want to save you from going to hell. They believe being gay is a sin. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of messed up and horrible beliefs or conservative beliefs do come from a place of like, I don't doubt that at all. I have evangelical Christian family who I genuinely think that they wish the best for me and they love me, but they think that I'm going to hell. It's like, and I think it's very cathartic for gay people, LGBT people in general, to have a moment to laugh, right? To have a moment to laugh at the absurdity and have a moment to laugh at the ridiculousness of that. I've always needed and wanted a stage, whether it was dancing, singing, songwriting, comedy, whatever. And I didn't really find my comedic voice until about 3 years ago, 4 years ago during lockdown. And that's when I started making silly videos. And I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just having fun. And then people really liked it. People really like responded to what I was doing and like more and more, I want more, more and more. Just constantly for the past 3 years. So at that point, you kind of have to be like, okay, clearly this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I do believe that like life leads you in the direction of like where you're supposed to go. Karmically or however else that happens, I don't know. But it's led me to this moment now, and it feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to do something with this. It's obviously it's like talent and then a platform, a stage, and then an audience, all kind of coming together at the same time. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to not just be funny in a video, but to be funny on stage, live in front of an audience. So I was raised by two boomers who were hippies in the late 60s, and they have a very, open mindset. about a lot of things, and they raised me to follow what it was that I wanted to do creatively. And then was always really encouraging. You know, I played oboe and English horn in middle school, high school, and college. And especially in high school, it was like a really big thing for me. I played in the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestra, I played in the pit orchestra, I played in the concert band. And I was really, really dedicated to oboe. I would practice an hour every single day. Um, and when I first started, I sounded horrible, like awful, just like a quacking duck, like it was like horrible sounding. And my mom and dad went, Ellery sounds so beautiful. So beautiful. Keep going. Keep practicing. It sounds great. Really good. And I believed them, right? Like I was like, yeah, I'm like great. But it was because of that that I actually kept going. You know, if I had two parents who were like, oh, what's that racket? Turn that off. That sounds horrible. Stop playing. I would have 100% stopped. You know, you're so influenced by your parents. You're so influenced by your mom and dad and what they think when you're a kid. So I feel like they're always being like encouraging has always given me a really strong um, self-esteem and then confidence as well, you know? So I do owe it to how they raised me with that nurturing love and kindness and all of that. But that is why I feel like I am this way now and why I'm able to be like, hey, this is who I am. Like, don't like it? Cool. That's great. You go over there. Right. Do you like it? Okay, come be with me, you know?
Was there some kind of conflict between them and the other relatives or other friends of them?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that because, as I mentioned before, my aunts and uncles are not liberal and not open minded when it comes to a lot of these things. Um, and they're very, very Christian in the evangelical sense, right wing politics mixed with religion. Because my parents really like kept the extended family sort of away. We really didn't actually even spend that much time with them. Growing up, we called the rest of the family our relatives. It's kind of like a sort of separation. So, and I would only see them once in a while, you know, once a year. I think I was always kind of a little bit sort of protected from it, and they weren't able to really influence me directly in any way. A lot of foreigner comics in Taiwan who are doing English stand-up, they end up writing a lot of Taiwan jokes, a lot of jokes about Taiwan and about being a foreigner in Taiwan and about Taiwanese culture and about Chinese language and all of this, right? Because that's really easy. Everyone's going to get that in an audience in Taipei or Taichung or whatever. And I don't just want to do that either. You're not going to see me making YouTube videos about, you know, oh, watch my mom and dad eat chou tofu. You know, it's like, who cares, right? It's like I have a few more things to say than that. But that's also really culturally interesting as well to me because it's like, why is it such a in this? And that's not unique to Taiwan. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. That's the internet is a horrible place. Period. Right? Like you can't say what you think, and you can't go against the norm because you will be beaten down, you know? And I've learned this through being friends with Taiwanese people and talking with them about these things. That's the only way that I would know other than the way that people treat me. But people treat me differently because I'm a foreigner, right? Like I'm always being treated as an outsider. So again, I don't know what it's like to be Taiwanese only from hearsay, right? And from what I can see. And a big part of what I see is like, don't be different, right? Don't be different. Be the same as everybody else. That way, you have this expedient means to like go forward and in whatever you're doing, right? Like things will be smoother for you, things will be better for you. And so that's really interesting as someone that's like raised to like speak your mind, be yourself, and not care if like other people have a problem with it, right? Many people, I suspect, and I think this is true. I think a lot of Taiwanese who like to watch me, one of the things they always say is that your content is they're like, I love watching your videos. They're very healing and 疗愈, right? And I was like, why did people, I didn't know this word until people started telling me that watching my videos is very 疗愈 all the time. And I'm like, why? Why do people keep saying this to me? So it forced me to like think about that, right? And so it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before of like this culture of suppression. Like I can't say what I really think. I can't act like that because it's not acceptable. I will be an outcast if I act like that, if I talk like that, if I say what I think, if I show up and I'm like, this is who I am. That doesn't mesh in Taiwan. It doesn't mesh in East Asia, right? Like not just Taiwan, it's probably worse in Japan, right? You know what I mean? So I think there's many people in Taiwan many Taiwanese who want to become more confident, more outspoken, because there's so much fear. There's like a lot of fear around like I can't be that way, or I was always told I can't. And I have a student who told me, she said, my whole childhood, I was told by my parents, like, do you see what the other kids are doing? Do it like that. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Stop. Right? Constantly like suppressing their individuality. It's like, where is the individuality? It's because this is a collectivist society that doesn't value individuality. I come from the United States, the most individualistic country perhaps in the world. It's like you don't get more, arrogant, individualistic than an American. Well, it's completely different to do comedy on stage than to make something that's recorded, right? For the obvious reasons that you can start over, right? I can take 15 takes, 100 takes of one idea. If something doesn't work that I filmed and I'm like, this isn't good, then you just throw it out, right? So there's that. And then with the stage, you've got the live moment, right? And so it's one and done. It's like, this is like you stand on stage and you start talking, you start doing the performance, and however it goes is how it goes. Well, that's really dependent on the audience because it's really like a conversation in stand-up comedy, especially, not so much in theater, but in stand-up comedy, you need the audience to laugh out loud, right? So it can't just be mildly funny, right? It has to be laugh out loud funny, right? And then you have to perform it well, right? It's not just you write it, you have to also be on stage and be relaxed. I don't care. I don't care. You care so much how it goes. Of course you do, right? But you have to appear like, I don't care. Hey guys, So that's hard. What else is hard? I mean, literally everything about it. I give the analogy to my boyfriend who's a professional drag queen, and he's like, oh yeah, it's performance, kind of like drag. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's just way harder than drag. It's way harder than singing. It's way hard. I've performed music my whole life. I'm sorry, stand-up comedy is 1,000 times more difficult in terms of performance because you have to do all the things. It's like, imagine a drag queen could never lip sync a song. They have to perform original songs. They have to sing live. They can't lip sync. They have to create everything from scratch. They have to create everything themselves. And if they don't, then it's like, and I want like things to be better, right? Like I want like politically, and socially and for individual people, that's ultimately like, yeah, I want people to be free. I want people to not be burdened by culture, to not be burdened by archaic ideas, to not be burdened by all of that and to be free. So I hope people go home and they're like, oh, Ellery's act was really funny. And then they're like, and you know what he said about blah, 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 that was really interesting. I think that's so true, blah, 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 blah. And then they start a conversation. Like that to me is real comedy. That to me is like, you've actually really done something. Because otherwise, if it's just a bunch of like, silly jokes and you don't really remember anything, it's like you kind of are unmemorable. And that's kind of